Welcome back, everybody. I hope you had a green morning. I want to go over real quick my best and worst trades for the morning. And also, I want to do a small bonus review on Tesla just to see what it did this morning and kind of compare it to what we looked at last night on the stock review watch and just see if it respected some of the levels that we saw there. So, thanks you guys for coming by. As always, if you enjoy the content, please feel free to hit that thumbs up button and go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. All right, let's jump over to the chart. All right, guys, first off, I want to start with the LCID trade, otherwise known as Lucid. I have been trading Lucid several times in the past few trading sessions, and today I basically went for the same setup, the break of the VWAP, and then just to take profits from there. As you can see here, I entered a little bit early than waiting for it to actually reach VWAP. And one of the main reasons for that is because Lucid actually lost a level that I had already marked here, which was right around the high of pre-market. So I had this level set here. It was kind of just not an exact number, but it was in a level where I knew that folks would be looking at that as a high for the day. And that's really what my first basis of this entry came from, and really the loss of it, or I should say the inability for Lucid to continue to move higher from these levels. Now, the one bad thing about Lucid this morning, within the first, I would say, 8 minutes, is look at the levels. This formed top and bottoms that were way too close to each other to really get a good entry on this. It would have been really hard to trade, even if you would have jumped in and grabbed like a long off of this VWAP. It would have been really hard to tell if it was going to keep going up. Maybe it was going to wick all the way back down and take all your profits. So this one was a really scary trade to take this early, unless you just got in at the right time and were able to grab your profits really quick. Now, this was my second trade of the day, so that's why I wasn't really even looking at Lucid this early. I did take my worst trade of the day before Lucid. So this green trade kind of equaled out the red trade that I took, which was my first. But we'll go over this one really quick. As you can see, we started moving down. I saw the first lower high form right here, and basically I was looking at this level right here. I was looking at the 9, and I was looking at the bulls to basically give up momentum and stop trying to push this stock higher. Eventually, it did move higher, and it did move back above the VWAP, but after seeing this, it kind of just, something about it. Once I saw it open and move below this level here, you can see all these wicks. That basically meant that the price would drop down, but it would pop back up. Once I saw the candle go down here for the 4th time, I was fairly confident that I was going to go ahead and take my entry and then just keep a really tight stop loss at this level here. Thankfully, it did continue to move the direction I wanted it to, and you can see here it wicked back up, and we also had another candle that just formed another massive wick on both ends. But once it went back down and touched the VWAP on the lower half of this wick right here, I was fairly confident. Now, as you can see, I did accidentally take a partial right here. This was not intentional. That was a hotkey slip. And unfortunately, that probably cost me a lot of profits. As you can also tell, the next move that I took was an actual add into the position once it got back down to the VWAP. So I added here, accidental partial here. If I wouldn't have hit this, I could have just let it ride down to the VWAP, taken my second entry, which I wanted to do if it continued to move down to the VWAP and then go lower. And then that is when I loaded up on profits down here. This was actually a really profitable trade just because I was able to get my entry up here around these levels. So let's see, from my first entry around 26.20 to my final partial, which was around 25.95, around a 25-cent move at the very best. Unfortunately, because of this partial, my break even moved up way closer to the VWAP than I wanted it to be. Or I'm sorry, lower when I say closer. I wanted it to stay up here above the VWAP. That way I could continue to take profits if it bounced back down. But because I scaled out right here way too early, I had to go ahead and set my break even, which moved it around this level right here. So even though I did take profits too early and cost myself some money, this did actually turn into a really good trade this morning. And as you can see here, also on the 5-minute chart, it completely lost this level and lost this level as well, which kind of confirmed that this was a decent move. You just had to be in at a place where you were okay waiting for it to bounce back up to this level, which it did on this candle right here, and then continue to move down. And that was pretty much my best trade of the day. Fortunately, I did not have too many green trades today. My average was red, but it wasn't as bad as it could have been just because I was able to stop out and also have a few green trades. All right, let's jump over to my worst trade of the day, and then we're going to go over to Tesla to end the video. Holy freaking cow, did I overtrade Oxy. Oxy took my lunch money and then went and bought my girlfriend a present with the money that he stole from me. This stock treated me poorly, and it wasn't because of the stock, it was how horrible my entries were. And I want you to have a look at these charts right here. Now keep in mind, I was not looking at the 5-minute chart, and unfortunately, I think that was my downfall on Oxy. I did have my stop losses quite tight, so I didn't blow up my account with one trade or anything crazy like that. I didn't try to average in and, just let it run up here without stopping out. But as you can see, my first trade was trying to take a rejection off of this run up and then trying to catch it on the way back down past the VWAP. I was trading a reversal. Unfortunately, it didn't reverse. It bounced right off of this VWAP and continued higher. The smart thing to do on this trade, if you would have had the hindsight and all that good stuff, is probably to let Oxy shake out a little bit. If you can look and see here on the 5-minute chart, once it did open right here at 9:30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at the 9:36 candle, it shook out and then it did bounce down, and you could have taken a long off of the VWAP and then just took this trade all the way up. Unfortunately, that's not how I traded. I got jumpy. I didn't hesitate. I should have hesitated. I really wanted a big trade this morning. I wanted to come out of the gate on Monday morning, catch a reversal on Oxy, write it down for a good 40, 50 cents, and just blow it up. Unfortunately, it cost me, and it did not continue to move the way I wanted it to. And as you can see, I stopped out right here. That was my worst trade. Again, you can see up here at some levels around the 5-minute mark. It did follow this trend line down here, which caused me to stop out actually a few times trying to catch it to the short side. Eventually, I did catch the level that I wanted, which was right here, and I did get a really big pop down to this level right here on a VWAP loss. So I actually did have a really good trade on Oxy this morning, but unfortunately, I just got so caught up on this first trade that psychologically, I was revenge trading. I'll go ahead and say it right now. I did try to revenge trade on Oxy. I tried to catch it on a reversal here. Saw all these green candles and I said, okay, this thing is exhausted. Let me go ahead and take it to the short side. And I hesitated and didn't take it fast enough. And what happens? It bounces off the 9 and I get stopped out. I tried to take another short to the loss of this level. It bounces off of the EMA again. I get stopped out. And then one more time, as I try to go short for the VWAP, it bounces off and I get stopped out. This was a really tough trader this morning for me. And I will say it was more psychologically tough than it was actually reading the patterns. If I would have been patient and only traded the way I felt the most confident about, I probably would have been a lot more profitable on this trade. So that's about it. As you can see, the triangles speak for themselves. Okay, guys, thanks for sticking around. I'm going to jump over to Tesla. We have to look at what Tesla did today. The prices are outrageous. Let's go to it. All right, Tesla had a wonderful morning today. I thought that maybe it would pull back a little bit before it ripped through that 780 level that we had talked about yesterday. And here's exactly what it did this morning at around 10 o'clock to 10:15. I was actually watching Tesla today for a possible larger pullback before the rip in case I wanted to take a short. Really didn't get too many moves on Tesla, so I was trading those other things that I was showing you, so I didn't really mess with Tesla too much, but I was definitely keeping an eye on it. And as you can see right here on the 5-minute chart, we had right out of the bell, we had Tesla run up and get really close to this level right here, the 780.14 level that we had looked at. And going back on the daily, I mean, that's exactly where we were right here. I'm going to make it really big so you cannot miss that level. That is what I was looking for. That was that topping level that we could, focus in on and say, okay, once it goes through here, it's time to load up the carts and just blast through this bad boy. And we did get that movement. And actually, before it went through there around this time period right here, if we scroll back, let me grab my hand here and go look at pre-market. You can see here it formed a level here, but it wasn't quite up to 780, so we did have some volume come in, but it just wasn't ready. We came into the bell and we had a lot of volume at the bell, and there was a lot of indecision. Look at these levels. Look at the size of these candles. We were talking about $8 movements in a matter of 5 minutes. That's really good. And you can see that other folks, they also saw the drawback and was like, okay, I'm not quite sure what this is going to do today. Is it going to go up and kiss the 780 right here, which they saw that, and then pull back, which it did, and keep going lower? Or was it going to find a level and then bounce back up and rip through? And that's what that's what they got. And for all the people that went long on Tesla, they really, really chose the best time to go long on Tesla. Because as you can also see, we had a level here at the low of pre-market, which we had defined around $768. It did not make it that low once it pulled back. And then once the bulls came back in, it was off to the races. We basically just had full momentum, rip through. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 green candles in a row on a 5-minute chart. We had a very small indecision on this 5-minute candle here, and then it just kept going. And honestly, right now, we are almost at the end of the day, and Tesla is getting oh so close to that 800 mark we talked about yesterday. We know there isn't a really specific level on the daily or the weekly, anything around 800, but since it is at that century mark, it is going to be a level. Having said that, I don't know whether or not I would be anxious to jump into Tesla right now. I feel like the bulls have already exhausted and it may want to give a little bit back. For the past 2 weeks, Tesla has given some back before it moved higher, but normally those 2 days were on a Monday and not a Tuesday. So it's possible today just had so much momentum on it that when we come in tomorrow, we may see a small drawback here before more momentum comes in and just pushes this bad boy to the moon. This was an incredible move on Tesla. I give a large congratulations to anybody that went long today, or anybody that actually went long down here around these levels when we were looking at previously, which had a lot of consolidation. This is where we first started looking at Tesla on this channel, and there was a dip around 710. And just say you were to grab X amount of shares and you were still holding those shares today, you've almost made a $90 per share profit. So to me, in a few weeks, that's a really good return, and that's why we love Tesla. We're tired of all these little consolidation levels like this. What we want to see from Tesla is big boy candles like this. The more of those, the better, whether they be to the short side or the long side. All right, guys, I'm going to continue to keep my eye on Tesla. That way we can see what it does from day to day. I may give it a few days before I try to review it again, just to see where it goes, and keep an eye on that 800 level. Thanks you guys for stopping by. Take care and stay green.